Hi, and welcome to Queens of the Paddock and F1 podcast. I'm here with Courtney again, and today we're going to talk about Alfa Romeo. And I'm missing Courtney. She's not here with me today, but we'll be together again soon.
Yeah, hopefully once I get over this head cold.
Yeah. But yay. So I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really any news updates that we have to do.
Well, I was going to say, were they one of the teams that released their date?
I'm not sure. I don't know that they have Alfa Romeo.
Okay, because I remember you had sent me a message and there was one new team that had announced their date. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was them or not.
I think there was six so far, I felt like. But yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head if they were one of them. I did think it was weird. Alpha Tauri's doing theirs in New York City, which I thought was strange because I'm like, it's weird. But you know what? Those dates too coincide with New York Fashion Week. So I'm like, are they gonna...
You think they're trying to launch on New York Fashion Week and then kind of mirror it together?
Yeah, I think it would make sense too because they're a fashion brand. So I think it kind of makes sense, for them to launch on New York Fashion Week, and then I don't know if they're gonna throw the car down the runway too.
Well, I was about to say, or I guess speed race down the streets of Manhattan. Can you imagine some of the photos of that if they did it at night?
God.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. I bet
they do something edgy like that, mixing in New York's vibe with the release and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, they should. I mean, it would be a good launch. It's different too from what all the other teams are doing because most of them are London or, I
kind
think
of
most
in
of them
their
have been
headquarters
London
or whatnot.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
And then I also did notice, which I don't remember if I sent it to you or not, but Haas did change their display name to literally MoneyGram.
You did send that to me. I was like, and again, I told you, I was like, how terrible. It's just the ugliest. I'm so disappointed for how much I love Haas. They've just completely destroyed that name. For me, at least.
I know. MoneyGram Haas. TM.
Oh, gosh. I just well, and now my question is, what's their ticker going to be? You know how when they list
when it
all
goes across
stuff like that?
Yeah.
I feel like MH, I don't know, something that's going to look stupid.
MG Haas, MoneyGram Haas.
MGH?
It'll just be really long. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Or it just runs off and you can't even continue reading
Make
it.
out
it's
what
just
it is.
MoneyGram and you're going to not even know it says Haas anymore.
They should just put dollar signs.
That's a good one. At least that would be clever.
Just shorten it up.
Better.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Or just $sign Haas.
$sign Haas I can get behind.
I could get behind
$sign Haas sounds good.
That would bring me on the bandwagon, I feel like. So.
We'll have to tell Gunther. $sign Haas or nothing, or bust.
$sign Haas or bust. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Okay, so enough about Haas or $sign Haas or MoneyGram.
That's right.
We're not here to talk about them tonight, even though I love talking about them.
I know. We can't get off the topic. It's fine. So we are going to talk about Alfa Romeo. They finished 6th in the constructors this past year.
And can I just say something?
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the way I feel about them, but I just feel like they are so blah. I feel like I never
feel the
same about them.
way. I'm sorry, Alfa Romeo fans. I'm just even researching and typing up all the stuff for them. I was kind of okay, we just need to, and I even texted you that, we just need to get through Alfa Romeo and then.
But it's just, I feel so bad because there's so much to talk about with the other teams, but this team, I feel like for some reason for me was just I could do without.
They're really just kind of there on the grid. And
they're the team that's in the way when Max and Charles are just trying to lap everybody. They're just the problematic one.
It's okay. I know. But I really do like Valtteri, which we'll get to talking about him, but he is one of my favorite drivers. And I think he kind of is like the only, like, I don't know,
thing that keeps you going with him.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Totally I don't know what it is. But like I said, I mean, even like researching it, I was kind of like, okay, like, give me something. Like, where's the drama? Where's the, like, I need something. Give me something, guys.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree.
Yeah. So maybe, well, we'll get there, but I'm hoping like a couple years down when they turn into Audi, maybe that'll be exciting.
That's what I'm hoping. Because, I mean, we were talking about this with Aston Martin. Aston Martin is so like sleek and edgy and stuff. I feel like Audi's going to come in and kind of revamp and do the same thing.
I really hope so. I hope so. And here's the good news for them. Like, the bar is set so low that they can come in and just really like easy. Outperform and like, just go above and beyond what everyone's expectations are.
It's not like the bar for Williams with Latifi, though.
Right.
Let's get that straight.
True.
That bar is that
low.
That's like a negative bar.
It's not Latifi low.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. But
or Latifi.
Okay. So they finished last year with 55 points. And it's actually, the team is actually operated by Sauber. And Alfa Romeo is the title sponsor. So Sauber.
So is it going to be Sauber Audi or Sauber Alfa Romeo Audi?
When Audi comes in, they're taking over. Like, it'll actually be like an Audi engine.
Oh, so it won't be Alfa Romeo or anything?
No. So they're like taking over, I guess, like 100%, kind of. I don't know. So. But okay, so their history was kind of confusing. But so they originally, like, Alfa Romeo was its own team, and it started out at like the very beginning of F1. It was in the sport for like 2 years, I think.
Okay,
right? Yeah, so they were part of the first 2 championships, and then they completely withdrew.
Okay, yeah. Like back in the 50s, we're talking,
back in like 1950, 1951. And I want to do a whole episode on, there's one guy that drove for Alfa Romeo. His name was Fangio. I don't know if you've heard of Fangio before, but so he was Argentinian. I feel like
weirdly I have, but I don't know
I've probably been like, oh my God, I want to talk about Fangio. It
sounds like a cheese to me.
It does kind of sound like a cheese, right?
Yeah.
But there's one situation with him that I find extremely interesting. So he was driving in the Grand Prix in Cuba. And like, this was again, like, yeah, I'm sure I've told you about, because I want to do a whole thing on this.
Yes.
Where he ended up getting like kidnapped by the Cuban government, and they didn't hurt him or anything. Like, he was fine, but he didn't end up driving in that Grand Prix. But anyways,
because he was,
like,
quote unquote,
because he was kidnapped. Yeah, he legit got kidnapped.
Yeah, but I wonder about kidnapping. Like, was he hanging out in like a nice little villa down in Cuba smoking cigars, or was it like tied up with a brown paper bag over my head?
No, I mean, I think they were like feeding him and stuff. Like, they didn't like mistreat him.
Yeah, but there's a very different level of feeding and like, oh, this is like a vacation for me, you know?
Maybe there's a conspiracy there. Maybe he wanted to be kidnapped. And no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I got to research.
Maybe he had a Cuban lover and he just wanted a weekend off so he could hide out on the island with him. You never know.
You never know. But so that's one thing. Like, I do want to talk about that like later.
Was he on the team?
To research.
Was he on the team when they won one of the championships?
I think he was one of the ones that won.
This is editing Alex, and yes, he was one of the winners with Alfa Romeo. They won the first championship, and he actually won the second championship of all of F1 with Alfa Romeo. Fangio did.
When we do a whole episode, because you wait. I have so many theories on that one.
I know. It's super interesting. There's there's a whole Netflix show about it that I actually started watching, but I fell asleep. So that happens to me a lot.
That good.
No, it was good. I just I have narcolepsy when I watch TV. I literally fall asleep whenever we sit down to watch a movie.
Except for when you're watching Drive to Survive.
Except for well, I have fallen asleep during some of those. I'm telling you, I have narcolepsy. I need to work on that.
It's okay.
But okay, so, and then Sauber has come in and out as a team and then also as an engine provider, several different times. But they've been on the grid officially as Sauber since 1993, before they became Alfa Romeo.
As old as me.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy to think about that.
It is crazy to think about that. They've been on the grid as long as pretty much I've been alive.
Yeah. So my nephew the other day, he was like, "Hey, did you know that we're closer to 2050 than we are to 1990?" And I was like, "Oh my God, don't tell me that."
Let's just forget that.
Really
we'll just skip that.
I was like, great. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for that math lesson.
Yeah, I know. It was super depressing. But okay, so they've been Alfa Romeo since 2018. So
Alfa Romeo Sauber. But Sauber is been here
so
since
they brought on the Alfa Romeo title sponsor name in 2018. So before that they were Sauber, and if the beginning of Drive to Survive, the first season, Charles Leclerc was driving for Sauber. So there's been a lot of people that have started off with Sauber and then moved on to different teams and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they've been around for a while, just kind of lackluster. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Have they always had the Ferrari power unit, or is that
I don't know if they always have. I feel like they've been connected with them for a while. I'm not sure how long they've had it, but they as far as since I've been following the sport, right? They've always kind of had that connection where they have the power unit. They're always kind of doing stuff with the Ferrari drivers. And I feel like it's kind of like a feeder almost for Ferrari, but it's not. They're two separate teams, but they have this relationship partnership going on.
Yeah. That's fair.
So. Yeah. But okay. So their team principal is Andreas Seidl. I'm sorry. It's not the team principal.
Not the team principal
is Open.
Yes.
The CEO of Sauber Motor Group is Andreas Seidl, which is super recent. So they were part of the whole team principal silly season situation that has gone on during this winter break. They did have Vasseur, who left and went to Ferrari. And now they just don't have a principal at this point. It's just an open position. I guess they're waiting to fill it.
That's scary though. I mean, the season we're
I know we're upon it. We're upon it right now, which it's interesting because whenever Andreas Seidl was the principal for McLaren, and then he stepped in whenever Vasseur left and went to Ferrari. But Vasseur was the CEO and team principal for Sauber Alfa Romeo. It's also confusing. Yeah, so he was the team principal and the CEO for them, but then left. And so now Andreas Seidl is just going to be the CEO. And he has said he's bringing somebody in to be the principal. But to your point, I mean, how much? I mean,
how do you?
You don't have a lot of time.
Your drivers really, you don't have that much time before we're in what? Is it Barcelona or Madrid for
the first race?
No, for winter testing at the end of February. I think it's Barcelona.
I think it's in Bahrain, like where the first race is.
No, the winter testing.
Before the winter testing.
Before the first race. Like when they first get, like all the drivers really get together. I want to say it's like the February 24th or something like that. But I want to say it's in Barcelona every year.
Interesting. Well, I mean, they don't have a lot of time.
No, exactly.
So to me, that means like I feel like the only option that I see, like being that there's not a lot of time, is that he would have to like promote somebody that's already within the team and like is familiar with what's going on. I mean, because there's really like not a lot of time.
Or you just roll the dice and see what happens. I mean, you already are a law team, so what's the harm?
Damn. No, and then also too, I mean, no one's been named as the Williams principal. Like we're still waiting for Susie to be announced. I'm just kidding.
Really?
But yeah, no one's been named. Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of like, it's gotta be here soon.
Yeah. No,
it's gotta be here soon.
Agree. Okay.
So
it's just a big question mark when it comes to principal for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. So they've got this open spot. But we'll see what happens with that. And then so Andreas Seidl came in from McLaren, and I read several places that like that was always kind of like in the works or in a plan, because since Sauber is going to be Audi in 2026, in the works like later on down the road though, like I think it's happened sooner since Vasseur left and went to Ferrari, and that kind of sped up this process, obviously, like made it immediate. But Audi wanted somebody that was German to run the team because they're a German company, so it makes sense.
I was about to say that makes sense. So
yeah, it makes sense. But so he's come in, and then I was just like kind of perfect situation, I think, for when Audi does come in, is potentially bringing back Seb from retirement as like a team principal.
As team principal. Okay, I was about to say
no, not as a driver, No, like either as a principal or like some kind of like team like mentor person for the drivers. I just think it would be great. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing with Seb. I feel like he's got so much other things going on for him, like personally, like he's got his family, he's got kids. Like, I don't know that he'll want to come back, but I think that would be like a perfect spot for him to go if he decides he wants to come back.
But at the same time, I would say at the same time though, I feel like he's not going to be able to stay away from the sport for very long.
Right.
You know?
Right. Which I feel the same way too. It's like, you know, he was in it for so long. Like that's hard. You leave and then.
What did we say? Yeah. Last week, 20 years or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 20 seasons. So I guess essentially 20 years.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe he'll come back and be a part of Audi whenever they get started. And then also, I think it's a good opportunity for Mick being German.
Yep.
So
maybe give him a year and he like starts to, well, they don't come in until 2026. So
2026,
gives him a few years to try and prove himself and maybe jump over there.
Right. And then maybe he can go like join some like a different team next year or the year after, and then kind of work his way back over there. But I think that would be, given the options that we have currently, I think that would be perfect.
I think it'd be fun, but I think is it just because you want Seb back because you selfishly like him, or
I like Seb and I also like Mick, and you know what I like even more than both of them separately is both of them together. I think they're so cute together. Like they just have a really sweet relationship, and like I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it would be good. And they're all German.
I was about to say I can see it. You know, it's not that out there for me.
Right. But okay, so that's really it. I mean, like we said, we don't have a team principal yet, so we don't really have anyone to talk about there, but we'll see what happens. And I guess we can update as they do announce somebody, which hopefully should be soon. So
hopefully, maybe they'll just
the clock is ticking.
Like the day before the first race in the Middle East.
I mean, maybe, why not? If they haven't picked anybody by then.
Yeah, so might as well roll the dice.
I guess. But getting into the drivers.
Yeah, I was about to say, so who are our drivers for next year?
So we've got the same lineup that they had this year. But it's Valtteri. No changes. So Valtteri Bottas, who is our Finnish / Australian. I feel like he's like an honorary Australian now.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And he is one of my favorites.
I don't know.
He's you know what he gives me?
Needs an American frat boy to me, kind of.
Yeah, and you know what he gives me is like, he gives me yacht rock vibes, like 1970s yacht rock.
Oh yeah.
Like Hall & Oates. I feel like he jams to Hall & Oates. Like he's just chilling.
Maybe we should find out what he listens to on Spotify.
Oh my God, we should. So I went down a slight rabbit hole the other day. So I have Spotify. I listen to Spotify literally constantly, but I didn't really, and I don't really like follow people on Spotify. I didn't know that was a thing until literally like last week. I didn't know you could like follow people on Spotify and see their playlists. So, like, to me, that's like super invasive.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, now
if you're putting it out there,
I want to know what Lando's Spotify list is.
Okay, new series. We need to dig into every driver's Spotify if they have it public. Okay, that's coming. That's coming.
Yep.
Oh my God, research. I'm like, my God, where's my sticky notes? I need.
Okay, but sorry. Back to Valtteri. So, how old is he? What's all the
so
him?
He's 33. Okay. He's Finnish. He finished in 2022 in 10th place with 49 points.
33. Sure. He drives under the Finnish flag.
Yes.
He finished in what, 10th or 11th?
10th place with 49 points.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was like definitely number one driver for Alfa Romeo because the team itself finished with 55 and then he got 49 of those points. But we'll talk about the other driver, but he's definitely like the number one driver for the team, which is nice seeing that, like, because before he came to Alfa Romeo, he was on Mercedes.
As a number two driver.
Yeah, as this hard number two driver, like with Lewis.
Yes.
Like, there was no question about that relationship at all. One of the things I thought was like really harsh and like poor him, like I just feel bad for him. Every year he was at Mercedes, he had a 1-year contract only. Like they never gave him, they never gave him any kind of like 2 years, even 3, some of these people, like, I think Max has a contract. Yes. Yeah. It was a year-to-year situation for him, which is like,
so pretty much he needed to make sure that he made Lewis look good. And if he didn't, he was gone.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it was literally year to year. Like he always had a fire under him, which Toto said in interviews. Cause a lot of people are like, hey, this is like, he's a great driver for y'all. Like,
yes,
you show him some respect. I mean, to me, that's like, that's so harsh. Yeah.
I don't know if I could be a number two driver. I'm just saying. I know that's hard. I mean, he was like the perfect number two partner driver. I mean, like anything you ask him to do, he was like, okay, it's fine. Team player all the way. But yeah, so Toto had come out in interviews saying like that he felt that Valtteri performed better under that like constant stress, which I'm like, that is so messed up. That's shitty to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I hate to say it, F1 is cutthroat.
It is really cutthroat.
So
It's super cutthroat. And that's a perfect example
needs to do to get his driver to produce, then maybe that's,
that's the way. That's what you got to do.
Man, that's gotta be hard.
He was right. I mean, that would be so stressful. Okay, so I'm trying to see on my notes how many years he was with them. So he was with them from 2017 to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And then before he was with Mercedes, he started out in F1 with Williams.
Okay.
So he drove with Williams starting in 2013 before he went and joined Mercedes. And he joined Mercedes after Nico Rosberg had won the championship. And him and Lewis, like Nico Rosberg and Lewis, is just a little tangent. They grew up together, like not grew up together, but like they were always good friends, like through karting and like kind of grew up in the sport together. And they were like best friends, like loved each other, best friends. When they first got like podiums together, they're like hugging each other, like super excited for each other. And then they became teammates at Mercedes and it just like went downhill, literally downhill. They could not be like probably worse partners and teammates than they were. And so whenever like, they were just constantly battling, which is like kind of good for the team, good for like the fans, because you always have like this action going on. But it was allegedly like a really bad situation, like within the team.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, he ended up winning a championship, Nico. And then like immediately after that, he was like, I'm retiring. Because I feel like he was like, let me like get out while I'm on top type situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like any driver, for the most part, kind of wants to end their career like that,
Right, on a high note, of course. I mean, so it makes sense. But after he was gone, like, they were really looking for somebody that was going to be, like, super mellow, even-keeled, and kind of just, like, go with the flow and not, I guess, fight up against Lewis or, like, cause drama. So,
yeah,
Bottas was, like, perfect for that. Which he... Again, was like the perfect teammate. I mean, super huge team player. Doesn't like put up a fight at all. So yeah. But he did really good for them. And I mean, he came in second place in the Constructors Championship twice, and I think third place like 3 times while he was at Mercedes. So he consistent driver, really good at what he was doing, and just a great team player, like all around. So, yeah.
Okay. What about off the grid? How is he?
Off the grid, I feel like he's a lot of fun off the grid. Like, he has a good time. So he's dating a Olympic cyclist who's Australian. And so that's why, like, I feel like he's kind of like honorary Australian. Like right now he's been in Australia, like with her, in New Zealand and like Australia all this winter break. And besides that, like they go cycling together. Like he's always posting stuff about them cycling together, and like he'll go to like whenever they don't have a race, like he's at her like cycling races and events and like just supporting her and being like a great boyfriend, seems like.
I think that's awesome.
Super sweet. Yeah.
Plus he has like this amazing haircut to go with it.
Oh my God, yeah. So since he's been in Australia, he got a mullet. And that little video they filmed together was like the funniest thing. I was dying. Like it's kind of like you could tell like it was totally obviously scripted. Like he's like, I need to change my look. And then he like goes into the barber shop and he's getting a haircut, and then he comes out with a mullet and he's like... And the girlfriend's just like, oh my God.
He does rock it really well.
He does. I think it goes well. And then he's got that mustache. It's like the 70s vibe. He has like such a 70s vibe.
We need to get him some of those like real big sunglasses.
He has them. He literally has them. Okay, that'll be the picture that I put up of Bottas on my little Instagram dump. Because he's got those big, and they're like kind of like a neon, like a reflective. Yeah, he wears them when they go cycling. Oh my God, awesome. He's totally 70s. Totally 70s.
Oh, and I love how he just commits to it.
Oh yeah, and he does. And like even some of the stuff like he'll wear into the paddock and stuff, like he's had a couple like really like I mean, just like I feel like they're good like outfits like coming in, like the matching like shorts with the shirt. It's just like a 70s vibe.
Yep.
He gives it off like a Budweiser, like NASCAR 70s vibe. That's him. Yeah. So he's a lot of fun. So he is actually divorced though. He was married before to another Olympic person, but she was a swimmer.
Which makes sense because he seems like very
into sports,
outdoor,
athletic, and doing stuff for sure. Yeah, for sure. But okay, so outside of that, he owns a coffee roastery.
He's a roast master.
Yeah, and like apparently he's like a huge like coffee nut, like loves coffee. So he has his own little coffee roastery. I know.
From his roastery. Is
from
it called
his roastery?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. And I didn't jot down what the coffee roastery was called. But he also does have, with Tiffany, his girlfriend, they co-founded a gin company called Oath Gin.
Okay.
And it's like supposed to be like, I mean, Finland's like not known for gin, so I don't know. But I guess he's like a gin drinker too. I'm not really sure. I'm not a huge gin drinker, so
neither am I.
I don't know. But we should get some and try it.
Yeah, we should get your husband. He's up for anything.
We'll get him to taste test it.
Okay. So take that and then we'll send the coffee to my husband.
Yes.
And he'll take that.
Yes, perfect. We can have them do that. But okay, so
So his teammate.
Yeah. So before I get into him, which is like a good segue for that. So going back to how he's like a great teammate for people, he is also a great teammate for Zhou, which like in a different way, because he's obviously like the number one driver, but he's always like looking out for him. He's always trying to help him out. And there's been like multiple times where he'll get on the radio to his race engineer and say, hey, tell him that like this person's cutting into this corner late or whatever. Like he's trying to give tips, and he's driving, like he's in this race and he's like trying to give tips through, because they obviously can't talk to each other during the races.
Yeah.
But he'll give tips to the engineers to pass along to him like mid race.
Which makes sense though, because but some drivers I feel like it's not just about them. It's about the team. And they want the team to do well. Right. I mean, of course they want to place first, but I think after that, then the next thing is they want the team to do the best that they can do.
No, of course, and that's how it should be. So I just think, I mean, he seems like a really cool guy. Love him. Yeah. Seems really sweet. Has a fun vibe. Fun 70s vibe. So, anyways. But, okay. Moving on to Zhou Guanyu, who is a 23-year-old Chinese driver. And he was his rookie season this past year with the team. So it was his first time in F1.
I have an opinion on this, by the way.
Oh no. What's the opinion?
Well, so my opinion on it is he was the only rookie on the grid. And then, of course, he wins Rookie of the
Year. Yeah.
How is that even possible? Like, how do you even have a Rookie of the Year if there's only one Rookie of the Year? I mean,
because they have to have that award, right? Well, here's another question. I wonder if you go back and look at like years when there was no rookies, like, because that has to have happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Then it's literally impossible.
No rookie, then if there's no rookie, then there should be no Rookie of the Year. If there's
I think I agree with you.
A Rookie of the Year, like that's ridiculous.
I think I agree with you, because you should have to have like somebody you're competing against to win that award.
Yeah, something. Like, even if both of you got the exact same amount of points, then it should be based off of, like, I don't know, pole position, or not pole, like, qualifying, or maybe how much, like, the least amount of penalties, something. Like, give me
else
something
to
other than
separate
just being
them.
like, oh, well, you're the only rookie. So here's this amazing award and you're rookie of the year because of all of these things, but then you have nothing to compare to. That's just ridiculous to me.
That is true. That is true.
Shame
Courtney's
on the
like,
FIA.
he's not doing enough. He's not doing enough. He didn't prove himself.
I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just saying, how do you quantitate, right? That he's doing enough. And so it's, in my opinion, shame on the FIA.
I think you're right. I never thought about it like that, but I think you're totally right. Because, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Like, you don't have other awards where there's only like one person. Hi. Uh-oh, we got a Podcrasher.
Like, gosh, bring it up again. First we have Alex's mom, then we have my husband.
I know. It's okay. Austin, you're going to get clipped for that.
Oh, he's going to love that. I'm like, just
we'll clip him.
I'm like, what are you doing? But anyways, okay. So I'm glad you agree with me on that because I think it's a little ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the FIA needs to go back and say, like, subsequent years, there has to be at least 2 rookies.
Yeah, or something. And like, I feel like as a driver, you should be okay with that. Like,
right.
I had no one to compete
because it makes sense. It makes sense. You just can't, like, by default, be winning things.
Yeah, that's like, oh, by default, should I just, I don't know, like, whoever tied, just, I don't know, the one that I like more gets to win the championship? I don't know. Like, that's just absurd. This is absurd.
Well, but, I mean, if we're being realistic, though, like, the FIA and their rules and their regulations and, like, I don't know, they're just, like...
ridiculous?
They're not fair.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Just like the unsafe releases in the pit lane sometimes.
Oh my God, I know.
Come
it's like,
on.
How do they feel today? Like, what are they going to do?
Or who irritated them enough? Or, you know.
Right.
Or I'm going to call a red flag this time, but not this time. Like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if it's Max, forget about it.
Oh,
they were like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like in the restroom whenever that happened. Like,
and the replay, I just don't know how I feel about it.
We didn't see it. It didn't happen. If we didn't see it, it didn't happen. It's fine.
Yeah. Or I'm just going to note it. I'm not going to actually do something about it.
Right. I love during the races when they pop down that little thing and it's like the FIA has noted blah, 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 like whatever happened. And then like several laps later, they're like, no further actions required.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm just like, okay, just say that you don't care. Like, that's all you got to do. So.
Yeah, it's like, why are you even noting it if you're not going to do anything about it?
Exactly. So, okay,
anyways.
Sorry.
You're fine.
So he drives under the Chinese flag.
Yes,
right?
And he is the first Chinese driver in F1, like ever. Okay. Which was a big deal. He is the first Chinese driver in F1. Which is a big deal because they were supposed to do the Chinese Grand Prix this year.
Yeah.
And, like, I think they were trying to first of all, even outside of that, like, China is obviously such a huge country with so many people that, like, having a Chinese driver would bring, like, I don't even know how many people are in China, but literally, like, billions of additional fans.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a huge market that they need to, like, tap into.
And not only that, but it's all the money that comes out of China. Like, think about it. I mean, money makes the world go round.
That's right. We've said it once. We'll say it again. Money makes the world go round. It really does.
And honestly, I mean, not to say that Zhou didn't deserve to have that spot, but at the same time, I think maybe that's a big reason why he did get the spot.
Right. Oh, 100%. Because that was another thing with Piastri. Like, people, whenever he first came in, Zhou, people were upset because Piastri didn't get a seat. And he had won the F2 championship the year before. And was Zhou second, maybe.
I
No,
think
he finished third. He finished third in F2 before joining F1. But so a lot of people, like, I mean, he had a lot of criticism from that just because people were like, well, there's other people that are better drivers. But it, again, and like we've talked about it before, and I think, well, like it'll continue to come up, but it's so much more than just like your driving ability. Like you have to have like all these other things kind of like falling in place for you to get those opportunities. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is as bad as it is. I like you said, it is what it is. You know,
it is what it is. It's that's the world we live in, and that's the way that F1
unfortunately.
works. Right? No, you're right. You're right. But okay, so his actual name is Guanyu Zhou.
Yes, but that's just way too complicated for everyone to remember.
Well, no, it's because they pronounce it so in Chinese like culture, your surname goes before your like. So you would be. I shouldn't say your last name. I'll bleep that out. It's fine. Anyways, but so they go by their surname.
Yeah.
Before their first name. So he was always known as Guanyu Zhou, like in the lower formulas. And then whenever he came up to Formula One, they changed it to Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah. Which I guess is more like, I wouldn't say
a cultural thing.
Yeah, but like, it's just across the world kind of thing.
Right. So. But so he moved to the UK from China in like 2012 so that he could start doing all the karting and like get in with the European whole circuits and all of that stuff. So he's been in the UK for a while.
So he knows that track pretty well then.
Yeah.
Silverstone?
And that's the one where he had that huge crash where it was so scary.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching that and I was like, that whoever that person is like not
okay.
It's not good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
because it looked literally so bad.
He flipped upside down and then slid upside down, and then he like got wedged between like the fans barrier and like the edge of the track barrier, and he just kind of hung out there for a while until they could get him out.
Which had to have been so scary.
Yeah. And then after that, he was walking the same day.
Yeah.
Which is
I was mind blown. Like super obviously like happy that he was okay. But I mean, I think wasn't it Albon that also got like rear-ended by somebody during that whole situation?
There was quite a bit, or quite a few people who were a part of that whole thing.
I mean, people got taken out for sure, but there was somebody else that actually like spent more time in the hospital than he did, or like in the medic, in the whole medic situation than he did. But like I mean, I don't know. I always kind of forget like they're out in the open air, like in these cars. Like there's not like besides that halo,
them, really.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and that like sliding upside down on that track and that gravel.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like
I would be terrified.
Yeah. He was literally so lucky after that. I mean, that was like insane.
Oh yeah.
Insane. But okay. So more on him, but prior to like when he was in F2, he had been part of the Ferrari, Renault, and also the Alpine Driver Academy. So he's kind of had like involvement with a bunch of different teams, which I think honestly goes back to him being Chinese and everyone kind of like, oh my God,
wants
like
money.
Yes. So neither here nor there. But we already kind of talked about how, you know, he got a lot of criticism for instead of Piastri getting that spot. And then also about the Chinese Grand Prix, which like side note on the Chinese Grand Prix, I read a couple places this week. Like I think they were having conversations earlier this week trying to reinstate the Chinese Grand Prix. Because so they initially had canceled it because China had really strict COVID regulations and different things they're doing, obviously, with COVID. And then China wants to have the Grand Prix. So they're trying to like convince Formula One to like reinstate the race. And they, as of, I think it was like literally like as recently as January 8th, I think I read that they've like relaxed completely all of their COVID regulations, like in a effort to try to get them to agree to reinstate this race.
I feel like they have to decide soon because again,
they have to decide soon because
like,
it's on the schedule.
Decisions like before the season starts, you know, like
right.
It's a lot harder to make a decision after. The season starts.
Well, and think about like it was that race was on the schedule for at some point in April. Like,
oh, so it's pretty early.
Yeah, it's early in the season, and so like you have. I mean, there's a lot of preparation that goes into events like that. Like
not only
a lot of preparation.
The ability to get all the vehicles, the equipment, everything there, like changing that whole schedule. I mean, especially that early in the season.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what they decide on that if they're going to end up having it. But some of the other options that have been tossed around, like I think the main one was in Portugal.
Oh yeah.
And I should know how to pronounce this better, but Portimao.
Would that be a street circuit, I guess?
Don't quote me. Mm-hmm. I think it's like a regular like track. But okay. We'll fact check that. Do we have a lot of fact checking to do today?
I know.
We have a lot of fact checking to do.
It is pronounced Portimao, and it is a regular track. It's not a street track. This is editing Alex, by the way. Bye.
But yeah, so there's like, I guess 3 options, right? You reinstate the Chinese Grand Prix, you pick another circuit, or you just like don't have a race on those days and then give them a break, which I don't want to see that because I like to have.
I want to watch F1.
I want to watch F1 every day.
All day.
All day and every weekend.
Yeah.
But I think like for the drivers, I mean, there's a lot of races, so that might be a good option. I don't know, but we'll see what they come up with. We'll see what they decide.
We'll probably find out here pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. So, okay. Outside of that, on Zhou's personal life, he's really private. There's really not a whole lot known about like his family. Like I could not find anything about who are his parents, what is their situation. Don't know. But it's pretty much like widely speculated that he does like his family has a lot of money or he comes from money.
Okay.
So,
which makes sense. I mean, how are you going to send your kid to the UK?
Right. And do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So there's gotta be something. And then one thing about him though is that he's like super into fashion. So I would say like the 2 most fashionable drivers are Zhou and Lewis Hamilton.
Okay. I was just about to say, like, Lewis better be on that list because.
Well, and when I say fashionable, like it's not for everybody because like I think about Lewis's crocheting.
Yes. It reminded me of Bane from Batman. Right?
Yeah, it was a look. It was a look. But
that's,
you know,
to say the least.
Right. But so they're dabbling into like different designers and like it's very like couture vibes.
Okay.
Like it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but he's into that. So he's also into like sneaker collecting. He has a lot of sneakers and like collects a bunch of them. And I'm not a sneaker person, so I don't really know like all the brands and everything, but he's got like high end sneakers. Like,
well, I'm sure probably every Nike like specialty one is probably in his closet.
Probably so. But also he just announced he is a Dior ambassador for the fashion brand. So that was kind of cool. And he did like a whole like kind of like mock up like modeling thing for them, which looked great and fancy clothes and fun times. And he also has a sponsorship with Hennessy. Which
What?
I thought... Yeah.
I just don't picture him drinking Hennessy.
I know. That's what, like, when I saw, I had to literally, like, look into that. Because I was like, wait, is that right? He has but yeah, he's got a deal going with Hennessy.
Well,
I don't know that I've ever drank Hennessy. I don't even know, like, is that a whiskey? Like, I don't know about it.
I don't know.
I feel like I wouldn't like it.
Hennessy, I think of, like, absinthe. Like, you know, like,
yeah, it's just like,
it's a,
it's like, I don't,
fair drink.
I'm not seeking it out at all.
Yes.
Like, I'm not interested, but maybe if Zhou's sponsoring it, maybe it's good. I don't know. Maybe we're not on it. Maybe we need to be on that.
And maybe if China has the Grand Prix this year, I mean, we always are looking for a drink to have, and maybe we'll
maybe that'll be our Chinese Grand Prix Hennessy drink mixed with Oath gin because Bottas.
Oh yeah, the gin. Oh god. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about either one of those, but I guess we'll find out.
I don't know. I need somebody to be sponsored by Tito's.
Yes. Oh, maybe Logan will. You know,
Logan.
US. Yeah.
Tito's. We need to make that connection.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I've got for Alfa Romeo and for Zhou and Valtteri.
Well, I was about to say, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if I have anything else. I think the most interesting thing that's happened with them is Zhou's accident in Britain. Unfortunately, I mean, he's okay, but I mean, other than that, I mean, just like we started the episode, I was like, I don't know. Alfa Romeo they just don't do anything for me. They're just kind of there.
Yeah. I think like the good news though is that the rest of the teams, like, I think obviously, I mean, they're the top 5 teams, right?
Yeah. I'm super excited for the next. Yeah. We're getting into McLaren, Alpine, Ferrari, Mercedes,
Red Bull. Like, I mean, we're getting into the big leagues now. This is the big leagues.
I know. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting into, like, the core of it. Like, the meat and potatoes. Like, before we were in, like, the green beans and...
Right. That was all an appetizer.
Yes.
That was the first course appetizer.
Yep.
We're about to have the entrees.
Yeah.
Just God. And then...
I would say Alfa Romeo is, like, the salad. You know, first you have, like, you know, I don't know, your pork belly, something like that. And then you move into your salad.
Bread basket.
Bread basket.
They bring you the glass of water, and that's Williams.
And then they pop the cork for the good stuff.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And then I would say the dessert course is Ferrari for me.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Oh my 100%. God.
Well,
my favorite. It's just my favorite.
All right. Well, I guess so. Next week or next episode, we have McLaren.
Yeah. We're excited to talk about McLaren. There's a lot of content coming out of McLaren.
I would agree.
So we'll talk about that. They're kind of like on their social media game. For sure.
Absolutely. Like branding game, I feel like, in my opinion.
They really are. That's a whole nother thing too that I want to talk about eventually is like all the different teams' merch.
Oh yeah.
Because there's huge different, like we should rank every team's merch. Oh my God. We should do that.
Sticky note.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah.
But okay, well I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
So we'll sign off.
You gonna give us our sign off, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I need to script this out better. I feel like it's getting better every time.
It is. I love it.
But so thank you for listening. You can find our podcast, all the other episodes. Oh, we're on YouTube now. Did you know that I put us on YouTube? So we're on YouTube.
Moving on up in the world.
Yes, we're trying to just take over all the different platforms. But so we're on YouTube, we're on Apple podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, blah, 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 all of those things. And then on Instagram at Queens of the Paddock. And thank you for listening. And we will catch you on the next one.
I was going to say, catch you on the flip side.
All right. Bye.